Hey, Earthy Love Medicine. Thanks for coming by. Today is the end of day 51 of my juice fast. So, um, today was cool. It was a good day. My mind feels really strong, um, which was really nice. And I really just kind of woke up um, with this energy in my spirit. And I had a couple of ebb and flows there, doing the enemas and stuff during the day, but for the most part, I maintained that all day. So one of the things that's kind of coming back for me right now, what's happening, is that I'm starting to get a lot of perspective back about and getting into a place of acceptance of that sometimes you learn lessons that you just understand people and relationships in a way that maybe other people don't. And so sometimes you're the one always giving people grace, even though they don't always do that for you, because you have a different perspective and understanding of people and how love works. Um, so this is really hard to explain, guys. So interpersonal relationships and, holding people accountable, sometimes you understand things in a way that other people don't. And so when you try to hold them accountable, it's kind of, pointless. Not saying that you don't hold people accountable, but I mean, regardless of what other people do, I'm still accountable. Let's put it that way, where it's like, just because I'm hurt or because I don't like the way someone else is, doesn't mean that I give myself permission to act in a way that isn't really how I want to act, just because that person did something that was wrong and that I feel like you know, they need to respect me or they need to freaking, recognize, I don't know, but actually, you know, being somebody that I'm not. Like, I'm not an angry person and I don't want to hurt anybody and I don't want to say things that cut people down, um, even if they are trying to be that way towards me, or even if they are being that way towards me. I don't want to be like that. And, I've kind of always had this saying where it's like sometimes it's what you don't say that has all the power. And, I got into this place of entitlement and resentment about the fact that, I never say anything because what's the point? If I would explain it, they're not going to understand anyways. And I usually have that experience. So that's the point, is that I got to a place where it's just like, fuck this person and fuck that person and their empty promises or they're this and they're that. And I basically, anybody who's really not pursued family or different people that I've been close with or whatever, that our relationships are strained or whatever, and I've made efforts to have those relationships and those family members or whatever didn't reciprocate. I recently sent text messages out and was like, fuck you. And then my mother-in-law, we're not really dealing with her. She's just in a place in her life where, it's a little toxic, and we just, we're still working out our own stuff, and we're not trying to bring toxicity to anybody either. But we don't really deal with her. She doesn't really listen to us, and it's just really difficult to have a relationship with someone when they won't be accountable for how they affect you, basically. So where was I going with this? I'm just thinking about her because, she's one of the people that I was thinking about today of the last time I dealt with her, now I'm remembering where I went with this. The last time I dealt with her, I, was really angry because we tell her and we tell her and we tell her and she doesn't listen. So, I was not the person I wanted to be. I was very angry and I was not a nice person. I was very cold-hearted to her. And I said some mean crap that was not necessary. But I basically just treated her like she was garbage, and I'm not proud of that. But in that moment, I felt very just done with her not like respecting our boundaries and like crossing them because she thinks she knows better or whatever. And that's where I was mentally and emotionally at that time when it happened in that space. And I was dealing with other relationships where I was feeling the same way, of just like, fuck you, why do I always have to be the bigger person when you're stepping all over my boundaries? And the thing is that I don't have to be the bigger person. And at that place, I wasn't being the bigger person because I got entitled to treat people however I wanted to because I was, tired of them, not being what I needed or whatever it was, and at the end of the day, it's like, I have to love people where they're at, even when they can't love me where I'm at, There's a lot of people out there that don't do stuff like what I do, like a juice fast like this. This is like a full. I came out of my dark night of the soul. Like, I'm ready to freaking do this. I'm done sleepwalking through life, and so, not a lot of people are just gonna like jolt themselves alive. You know what I mean? They're just going to sleepwalk through the rest of their life because they're terrified to know what it feels like to be alive. And to be honest with you, I am terrified, but I'm doing it fucking anyways. And today was just I felt really strong mentally, and so I started out where I reached out a little bit to my oldest brother, because a couple months ago I gave him like a really mean text message, like really fucking mean. A couple months before that, we were talking on the phone and he made me I just said, hey, do you think you could like just shoot me a text every once in a while? Because I call you and you don't even call me back, or like I'll text you and you won't even like text me back, And I'm like, so good, you guys. And I'm like, that shit hurts my feelings. It's like, could you at least like shoot me a text back if I text you, like that, show me that you like give a fuck, you don't even have to call me, just shoot me a text. And then it went from that to like, he's going to call me every week and like be accountable to me. And I'm like, that's not necessary. Like, I don't need all that. No, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, bruh, okay, whatever, dude. I'm like, cool. I'm glad that that's like the intention of your heart, is to like follow through and like, whatever, because he loves me and, he feels like we have a soul connection. And I feel that, like, I feel like we do, but that doesn't mean I need you to call me every week and be accountable to me now when I couldn't even get a text message out of you. That's not what I want. And that's unrealistic. You have a lot going on in your life. I don't need you to talk to me every week. I just wanted like a reciprocation at least, you know what I'm saying? Or like a, hey, every month or two or something. That's why I was literally like, hey, could you like maybe every couple of months just shoot me a text and be like, I love you, I miss you. Or just, hey bitch, I don't fucking know. But just ghosting me and then like telling me that we're soul connected and all that, I love talking to you and blah blah blah, but you can't even just shoot me a smiley emoji. It's kind of rude. And I sent him a message of like, if I'm alive now, and if I was dead, you'd mourn me for 20 years like you did my dad, or however long. It wasn't nice. And God, I just keep seeing this. And then I said, but I'm alive now, and all I wanted from you was like a freaking smiley emoji every once in a blue moon, and you can't even do that. Like, because he never, not once, stuck to it, guys. Like, not even 1 week. And I was just like, wow, that's deep. Like, and I tried to hold him accountable about it. Like, hey, I haven't heard from you, what the hell? And I'm like, on brand, because now I start to get my feelings hurt. Like, bruh, like, you can't even do it once. If you're going to, like, make this big declaration that you're going to do this shit, you can't at least do it once and call me once, and, as you could tell, it irked me because I just didn't understand. It's like, why did you have to say all that? All you had to do was just shoot me a fucking fuck you bitch emoji every month. or 2 or 3, just every once in a while. Don't let a whole ass year go by and then be like, oh, we're soul buddies. Yeah, fuck you. But with all that being said, and obviously maybe that's something I need to continue to work through, but this morning I did, I've been acknowledging these things about myself and how I got this like fuck you attitude to people, because I don't appreciate their behavior, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be a different person than that, regardless of what other people are doing. I don't want to text people and be like, oh, so the end of my text message was like, so, I'm tired of your like soul connection bullshit, and, don't come at me with that shit no more. Fuck you, bitch. I'm dead. I died. Treat me like I'm dead now, because you already do anyway. So, that was my whole attitude. I was just, sick of that shit. Stop feeding me bullshit. Like, I just want to, if we're going to have a relationship, great. And if we're not, we're not. But, like, keep it motherfucking real. If you desire to have one with me, but you just don't got time like that and you ain't going to do all that, then fucking say that shit. And that's all it is that I just got to a place of just tired of people being full of shit. But, part of, people being full of shit is that, I don't have to be just because they are, and I don't have to let people down just because they do, I don't have to let myself down just because they let me down, and I don't have to be let down, really. Know who you're dealing with, know the room, be able to read the room, be able to read people, be able to read how they're going to be and what they're going to do, and then time will tell you about people too. That's the one crazy part about being 45, is now I have like a good amount of time to judge myself or to judge other people. And I don't mean like judgment, like judging them that way, but like, to assess the scope of a person, or a situation or a relationship or whatever. So in all of that, I felt that empathy and that remorse in my heart. What the heck? Why are you barking, Agoo? Of that, I don't want to be responsible for hurting anyone, regardless of what they're doing. I don't want to walk around with those things in me and on my heart just because someone else can't find it within themselves to be real and to be a certain way or whatever my expectations are. Like, that's not, I don't want to go through my life constantly just, thinking I have a right to lash out and tell people shit. And, I did get justified there for a minute. And you know what? That's just, I think it's part of being a human being. So I'm not beating myself up. It's not even like, that's not even what this is. This is more like a me remembering who I am and what I'm about. And, stop giving all my power away. Stop letting people freaking have me, like, have my power. They're not calling me and trying to have a good relationship with me, then why am I giving them all this energy? You know what I mean? I can just love them because I love them, because that's who I am. And that even if someone's not in my life, I love them. Even people that I don't have in my life because I chose not to, I still love them. I don't love them and then not ever love them again. Even if they've hurt me, I still love them because that's who I am. But I've learned to love people from afar. I've learned to go, okay, you're over here now because, you can't be here because you're not safe. I guard myself. I do, but I think that there's healthy parts of that. People, they choose to love you the way that they want to instead of loving you the way you need, and seeing you where you're at. And I don't want to stop being that kind of person just because that's how people are. Most people, all of us, we view, I'll say myself too, we all view people from our lens of experience and what we know and what we don't know. And so dealing with people where everything's so like, this is the way it is and this is infinitely this way, and people's dogma or whatever, like I'm not with none of that. Like, this is the way it is for me. For me, boundaries are important. I, have had some interesting experiences with people in my life as a child and now as an adult, and the boundaries make me feel safe. And I think they make everybody feel safe, but I'm just going to speak for me and my own experience and what I think is right. And if people are toxic and they're bringing their toxic shit around, and I'm not saying I can't ever be toxic, and I can't say that me and my husband and our relationship hasn't been toxic in the last couple of years, because it has. You know what I mean? But um, we're not asking anybody to deal with what we're doing. We're not bringing that around other people and being like, deal with us. The only people that have dealt with it are our kids, and we definitely, everybody pays for what they do. If you like, our kids are gonna, you know, have some way that they're affected by our toxicity, but we also really love each other as well. And we have a commitment to working out and being healthy and, bringing the best of ourselves to each other and to our kids. So, yes, we've gone through some dark shit, but we also, talk to our kids, and like there's good shit in the middle of all that too. And, we, we're available to them to answer questions. Our toxic, our shit, we're playing out old tapes and old bullshit from our life and our past. And, we both were in marriages where we were cheated on, and we both had narcissistic mothers, or at least mothers with narcissistic tendencies, or, whatever. Um, you know, so we just want to do our best to like be available and answer questions and explain to our kids like, hey, we're people too, we're working out our freaking crap in this life too. And sometimes our kids are kind of like, right there front and center to watch us grow up and figure shit out too. But, in and of that, I feel like that's healthy for the kids to see that parents are not perfect and are willing to own that, that we can be a mess, and I think we all in this life, as hard as you work to be perfect, that could be your flaw. It's like we all are working towards some idea of what we think it's supposed to be like because we've been taught to be that way, instead of following our hearts and being true to ourselves and teaching our children how to, dance to the beat of their own drummer and be free without it being like some like toxic rebellion thing. It's more about just knowing who you are and being that person authentically, regardless of what everybody else is doing. And I really want to offer that to them by showing them that it's never too late for anybody, and we all have the opportunity to grow, and that, even when we make choices that we don't like, we can make a new choice. You're not stuck to any choice that you make. You can always go back and, try again. So I'm at like 18 minutes on here. I can't believe I just made it 18 minutes and didn't talk about my poop. I'm not like doing lots of poop. I'm doing enemas though. And so the liquid, some little bits and blah, blah, blah are coming out. But, I think I'm making headway. But I had to at least throw that into a video. I can't have a freaking juicing video and not talk about poop, y'all. So, yeah, that was a very long 18 minutes of me explaining the place that I've gotten to within 51 days of this, is that I'm starting to feel myself again and who I really am, and how strong I really am when it comes to dealing with people, and how on point my communication skills can be. So with all of that said about my mother-in-law, I said I wanted to end the video, but I don't want to leave this out. I wrote her something today, and just saying I'm not really happy with the way I did that, and this is what it is, and all I really want is you to hear me. And if you can't hear me, I'm not surprised, and that's okay. But I'm going to give you what I would want someone to give me, and I'm going to tell you why and what it is, and kind of just make it more like, here's an explanation. Now you know why we keep our distance, and why we don't, why we go no contact, and we don't, we're not dealing with you, but I do see her heart, and I don't think she's a bad person. I just, some people, they just will not answer to anyone or be accountable for how they're affecting you. And if someone's not willing to see themselves and see how they're affecting you and the people around you, what are you going to do? You're going to keep having them around and creating toxic situations, even if that's not their intention of their heart. Sometimes that's even worse, because at least if it's the intention of their heart, you could see that they're negative. But when it's not the intention of their heart and they're smiling and thinks everything's great and it's not, and you're like trying to get through to them and they're not listening to you. So yeah, now I'm ending the video. I'm actually not triggered about those things. I'm just dramatic. And so I explain things very animated, and I'm an emotional, passionate person. So I express myself very emotionally and very passionately. And when I'm mad, I'm freaking mad. And when I'm sad, I'm sad. And when I'm happy, I'm happy. And when I'm good, I'm good. And when I'm not, I'm not, So I love being me. I think that that's the best way to go through life, and I've always, to a degree, felt that way. Even, on some of my worst days, I'd still rather be me than anybody else, because I can deal with me and my own problems. Because if I was somebody else, I'd have their story. At least I can maneuver through mine, because I'm used to it. But here's to more healing and moving forward, and for my freaking brain to wake up and come back to life. It's amazing. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to hang out some more, yo. And till next time.